Do we think that being in that mindset is a way for the promises of God to be fulfilled in our lives? And people will say with such conviction, well, things just don't work out for me. I've been disappointed. And when they say it with all this extraordinary feeling and emotion behind it. Things don't work out for me. I've been disappointed. That is the wrong image to hold of yourself on the inside. Because, quite simply, as within, so without. And if that's how you see yourself on the inside, that is destined to outpicture on the outside for you. Because how can God possibly have good in store for you when you don't have any good in store for you? I mean, it's just the way it works. I know everybody on the face of the earth has been through a lot. But hear that. We have been through. That means it's over. That means it comes to pass. Like it says in the Bible, it says, and it came to pass. It does not say, and it came to stay. Right? The point is that we got through it. And when you're in a pit, to know this is going to pass. I'm going to get through this. I will be out of this experience at some point. In Exodus it says, I have promised to bring you up out of your misery. Isn't that a great thing? I have promised to bring you up out of your misery. Up and out. But we have to do our part. It is a choice to get up and get out of our misery. So, in the Old Testament, the children of Israel have been enslaved for so long. I think it's something by the Pharaoh, by the Egyptians. I think it's something like 430 years. So this is generations now that they have been enslaved. They're victims. They feel defeated. It's painful. It's just one heartache after another. And that's how they see themselves, because that's what they know to be true about life and their experience, right? And so God says to Moses, tell my people that I have seen their affliction, I have seen their heartache, I've seen their pain, and I'm coming down to deliver them. So what happens is that God brings them out of slavery. But this is the interesting thing, that they wander in the desert for 40 years. They got out of slavery, but slavery never got out of them. Right? Because there had been no change in consciousness. And this is part of why they had to wander for so long, because it took that long for the generations who completely only knew themselves as being enslaved to die off. Right? Because those people who saw themselves as enslaved did not make it into the promised land. Right? They saw themselves as just slaves. Right? They wandered in the desert for 40 years. A lot of people did not make it. So their wrong image is what kept them from the greater good that God had in mind for them. It's an interesting thing, because when we talk about faith, people are always thinking about it in the affirmative, healing, life-expansive direction. But faith works in both directions, actually. That we can use our faith against us. If you have a very limited view of yourself or life or what's available to you or what you're worth or what you think you deserve, that also is a demonstration of faith, but it's faith used against you. Just like you can have a really positive, life-affirming, expansive view of yourself in your life. I've come to realize that, there's nothing inherently spiritual or holy about misery and suffering, is there? I mean, haven't you suffered, and did you feel extraordinarily holy in that experience? No, absolutely not. There's nothing inherently spiritual in that. It doesn't necessarily, there's no guarantee that it's going to bring you closer to God. And yes, sometimes it does. Sometimes people learn from their misery and their suffering, and they never have to repeat it again.